What's going on? Hi everyone, welcome to another installment of the Girl Talk. So you want to cut off your toxic family, and I got you. This video was mainly requested after my story times regarding my sister, as well as my videos regarding how to recognize if you're toxic or if people around you are toxic. I'm going to link all of those down below. Please watch those because they're going to give you a gist of why I'm giving the advice that I'm giving and why this advice is very rash, okay? Also, understand that the advice I give is not going to be the other type of advice that you see on YouTube where they're playing the Lily Lilac music and they're talking to you like this, and we're not doing that. So if you're one of those people and you want people to coddle your feelings and you want people to talk to you like you're a baby when you're really 35 and you know what you already need to do, we're not doing it. Okay, I'm Haitian and nous dimons comment bagay yo ye. Okay, we tell people how things are. We get to the point, we get to the nitty gritty. I'm just going to enforce the thoughts that you already have in your head. You know your family's toxic. You know they gotta go. You know that they ain't shit. And you know that blood is not always thicker than water. So please, if you are one of those, kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya, don't even think about leaving this comment talking about some, oh, well, sometimes, you know, you have to always keep family around. Understand, if anyone in your life, whether it be family, not family, friends, whoever, I don't care how long they've been in your life, is treating you badly, you have to do the work and determine if they deserve to be in your life or not. And that is what this video is about. Also, check my video about setting boundaries and how to make sure people respect you. So, of course. So, first things first, when it comes to cutting people off, you gotta tell them. You cannot, I repeat, cannot just go around cutting people off, being petty, being childish, talking about something, oh, well, you know what you did, you're grown, we both grown, and I'm not gonna say shit to you, I'm just gonna stop talking to you. Does that sound familiar? I know it sounds familiar because I used to be like this, and understand that is a very, very toxic trait. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is extremely toxic to cut someone off without them knowing why you're cutting them off. Now, to you, as someone who is genuinely upset about something that someone may have done to you, it may be obvious. You're like, okay, duh, you left me stranded. Duh, you cursed me out. Duh, you're just overall not a good friend, and clearly you should be able to see that you're not a good person. You gotta go. It doesn't matter if you're my sister, my best friend, my cousin, or not. But understand that everything in life is about perception. And sometimes some people are not going to be able to see things the same way you do, and not everyone was raised the same way as you. Sometimes some people could say a joke to you and you think it's genuinely offensive, while that person will genuinely think it's a joke. This is why it's very important to always voice how you feel, especially when you feel it. Not a week later, not a month later, not a year later, because that's when it causes more issues. Now y'all both in the wrong and y'all both look like toxic ass motherfuckers, okay? So first things first, you gotta tell the person. You have to voice how you feel. You have to say, listen, I do not like how you've been treating me. I genuinely feel like we have not been on the best terms, and for that reason, I want my space. I do not want this relationship, whatever the case may be. Also, keep in mind, there's different ways of cutting people off. It could be temporary or it could be permanent. But whatever it is that you're doing, you have to let it be known. You cannot just be out here cutting people willy-nilly and expecting them to be grown and understand where you're coming from. That is extremely childish and it's ridiculous. The only way that works is if it literally happens right after a blowout. Like, clearly, if you just fought somebody, okay, you just fought your cousin and then you stop talking to them, duh. We gotta use common sense. We got yo, welcome, all right? They're gonna know. They're gonna be like, okay, well, clearly I'm not gonna talk to my cousin anymore, you know? Like, clearly we not friends no more. You just put hands on me. Like, that like, clearly things like that are clear cut. Or when you get into a situation where, like, you know, someone stole someone's boyfriend, someone took someone's girlfriend, someone took someone's wife. Like, clearly those situations, it's kind of clear as day. Yeah, we're not fucking with each other, okay? These are fighting actions, fighting situations. So it's gonna be clear that we're no longer in a situation that can be remedied, okay? But if you genuinely feel some type of way, you never let it be known that you feel some type of way, and you think people are supposed to just read your mind and understand that you're upset, that's problematic. You have to say how you feel. You have to be able to express how do you feel, and you have to be able to confront it, okay? None of this nonsense of, oh, I'm always depressed, I have anxiety, Listen, I have bipolar, I have anxiety, I have ADHD, whatever the case may be. I have issues too. I'm on medication, I go to therapy. Lots of people have issues, but you cannot go about life using that as a reason for for why you do not do basic human things that cannot interact. Okay, you have to know how to interact with people in order to lead a life that is fulfilling. You have to hear their side. I know a lot of you guys are like, like Yvana, this is not the video I clicked on. Yeah, just hear me out. You have to hear other people's side because it does show a sign of maturity. And also, you just need to understand that you're not 100% in the wrong here, okay? There are times where some of us get really, real upset. I'm this type of person where I get so mad that anything that anyone else is saying to me is irrelevant. I don't give a shit what you talk about. I don't give a shit where you coming from. I'll get like I just don't want to hear it. And it used to get to the point where like I literally wouldn't hear anybody's side until like a year after I done cut them off. That is also a toxic trait. Understand when you are going to someone and you're saying, listen, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I want some distance. I don't want this relationship, whatever the case may be. You have to hear their side. You have to hear why they did whatever it is they did to you, why the relationship fell off, why they're making fun of you and you don't think the jokes are funny, whatever the case may be. You have to be able to hear their side because again, not everyone was raised as you. Not everyone has the same perception as you. So please grow up and be able to hear other people's side. This was something I could say I struggled with a lot. I could say I probably just mastered the skill of just, Yvana, shut up, and just listen to other people's side because it's gonna make or break that relationship. Because sometimes you hear other people's side and it's like, all right, you know what, I'm tripping, I'm mad for no reason, or I'm tripping, I see the other person's side, this could be fixed, or I'm not tripping, you ain't shit, fuck you, I'm never talking to you again. So honestly, hearing other people's side can really determine if you really want to cut this person off or not. You have to adhere to actually cutting this person off. I can't tell you how many times people call me, oh my god, this person did some fucked up shit to me, I really cannot deal with it, I hate this bitch, I hate this nigga, he ain't shit, he stole my girl, he married my girl, he had a baby by my baby mother. All of a sudden I go on their story and they kicking it in the club together. All of a sudden they in their house. All of a sudden it's as if they didn't just have this phone call with me talking about how this person ain't shit. You know what that's called? Fake. You have to adhere to your own boundaries. You have to adhere to actually cutting the person off once you're done. And I know, yes, there's temporary and there's permanent, but you can't call me on a Saturday talking about, oh, I don't like this bitch, she's horrible, this nigga ain't shit, he's horrible, and then literally Wednesday you're kicking it with them. That doesn't make any sense. Can I get an amen? Please pass that songs. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense because you did not give it any time. Okay, and this goes back to the video I made about boundaries. If you are gonna let people disrespect you, at least give it some time, give it some air, let it breathe. You know when you fart and it stinks and you gotta air it out, it's the same thing. When people disrespect you, you gotta at least give them some type of repercussions, right? When people are toxic to you and you're thinking about cutting them off or you're really mad, you gotta give them some space. You gotta give it a couple of weeks at the bare minimum, not a couple days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe a year or so before you hop back into a relationship with them. You have to let them know, you will not disrespect me in this way. You will not treat me this way. I will not tolerate this behavior. Because if not, this shit is gonna continue. And then you're gonna be back hitting up my line, hitting up your friend line, hitting up this, that, about bullshit. Why are y'all wasting people time like this? Is this les professeurs? Like at this point, if you're gonna be dumb, don't bother people with your issues. Like, okay, just don't. Adhere to your own boundaries. If you want to cut someone off, if you think someone's bad for you, understand that there's a reason you feel that way and actually commit to making your life better. Commit to accepting better because you know you deserve more. So what are the different ways to cut someone off? Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering because I actually didn't mention it in my 2 story times about how I cut off my sister, but I did the distance method, okay? Now, understand, I think there's probably like legitimate terms for these things, like psychological or social terms for everything I'm gonna go over, but I was too lazy to look any of it up, so we're gonna use the Mademoiselle terms. And if anyone who has a psychology degree or anything like that can actually clarify and give proper names for these things, feel free to do so because I wasn't doing any of that shit. So for me, I used distance. Like I said before, the only way to actually cut someone off cold turkey or anything like that without saying anything is after a blowout. As I mentioned in my story time with my sister literally ditched me for her man. Literally left me in her house to go to the gym with her man after she invited me there. Literally, I just spoke to her on the phone like 20-30 minutes ago. She told me to bring her food. I brought her the food. I came there, she had gym clothes on and she said she had to go to the gym with her man. That is blatantly disrespectful. I told her how I I felt, I told her I will no longer be going to her house, and she hit me with a K. And then it just led to a series of other issues, and of course we have a long history of hoopla. So it wasn't one of those things that was necessarily surprising, but also when she continuously tried to act like nothing was wrong, I just stopped talking to her. So I used the distance / cold turkey method, because bitch, you know I don't fuck with you. Now things like that, it could be seen as a little bit petty, but at the same time you kind of know like what you did. I expressed to you how I felt. You see the situation go down because you know what you did. You acknowledge what you did. You just didn't take it seriously. Now if you're in a situation where someone did not take you seriously, again, you're just gonna have to use distance and show them that you're pretty damn serious. And that's what I did. At the end of the day, it just depends on what type of person you are. Are you the type of person to fold under pressure? Are you the type of person to feel bad because you're putting your foot down and other people are gonna feel some type of way and start talking shit to you because you're putting your foot down? Are you the type of person to really not genuinely give a fuck? Do you really care about your peace more than you care about other people's feelings? It really depends on the type of person you are, because honestly, I was just done. As I said in those 2 stories, it was just a series of nonsense, and honestly, I watered everything down. Those stories were bad, and that was the watered down version. So you can imagine what the true version of everything was. So understand, there are some people in our lives that do really crazy things to us. Like, I've heard so many stories just looking at my comment section on both those videos. If you have to let someone go, let them go. It does not matter who they are. And I'm not even trying to push this whole narrative of, oh, you don't need nobody, da da da. But to be honest with you, you don't need everybody. It's not that you don't need nobody, it's that you don't need everybody. Keep the people that you need close and take the people that you don't need out. That's just what it is. Take the trash out. Now you could do the distance method 2 different ways. You could either keep it cordial on a high and by and just never see the person again, or you could just gradually cut contact, where it's like high and by today, then it's high and by next week, then it's high and by next month, then it's high and by next year, then it's high and by in 5 years, and it just gradually just cuts off. Or you could do one of those situations where just like maintain like a physical distance, where, you know, say you used to always go to this person's house, you were always going to their events, and now you just gradually stop going. Like, say if they invite you to a birthday party, you go to the birthday party, but now you don't go to, I don't know, their baby shower, but then next time maybe you go to their barbecue, but then next time maybe you don't go to the wedding. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you just gradually just distance yourself away from them, and eventually they get the message, and it's a little less abrasive because they don't notice. Like, there's some people I distance myself from, like, not even consciously, and I'm very sure there's some people that distance themselves from me, and honestly I really don't give a shit because I ain't even noticed until years later. You know, like, so sometimes there's some people like you could distance yourself from them, or, you know, they distance themselves from you, and sometimes it's not even like on no, oh, this person's toxic, let me get away from them. A lot of times it's like, yeah, you just gotta, you know, you grow apart, or sometimes they just gotta go and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna my distance from this person because they just do too much. I don't like the way they make me feel. I just, you know, so we're just, yeah. The next, and that kind of goes into my last one, is cutting off cold turkey, no contact. Again, I don't suggest this, but there's certain ways and certain times where this is absolutely necessary. Things such as like legitimate violence, things such as blatant direct disrespect that cannot be refuted, situations such as stealing a partner or sleeping with a partner, sleeping with a parent, like things like that. Like, we already know, like, there's some things that are just honestly unforgivable, and I don't give a shit. Christians, don't be coming here, oh, everything's forgivable, hallelujah, hallelujah. Don't do it. Don't gaslight people, okay? Some things are genuinely unforgivable. Even God knows to punish his children when they do caca, all right? So what we're not gonna do is sit here and be like, everything's forgiven. No. And don't even be like, well, God forgives you, he just punishes you. Well, I mean, I guess. Well, if God can punish, I can punish too. Don't fuck with me, don't talk to me, stay out my life, snip, snip, ho, it ain't nothing, cut that bitch off. They gotta go, all right? And I feel like that only works for very drastic measures. I've seen people cut their entire parents off, which I don't think I'd be able to do that. My parents have done some fucked up shit, but I can't say they're a horrible parents to me. I can't say that like I hate them. I can't say like I wish I had different parents. No, I love my parents a lot, but I've known people that had horrible, I'm talking about some like they never been potty trained, I'm talking about some beat every day, I'm talking about held in little closets because they got a bad grade, like shit like that. I would never talk to my parents ever again. My parents never even laid a hand on me, you know? So if you did go through something like that with your parents, like I genuinely, I'm so sorry. And if you feel like you have to cut off your parents, or if you have to distance yourself from your parents, mainly to not continue continue that cycle, then I think that's fine. And I know there's a lot of people that feel like, oh, well, that's your parents, it doesn't matter, you know, they can start over. This is the way I see it. When you have your own kids, you got to think about your kids and their well-being. Do you really want your kids around that type of toxicity and craziness? Like, personally, I love my parents, but I don't even think I want my kids around my parents like that, like wholeheartedly. Not only is my mom very gluttonous, like I know my mom won't be sitting here trying to feed my kids fucking grill at 2, and I don't like that. I know my mom's the type of person, like if you tell her to stop putting like food on the plate, she gonna keep putting food on the plate. And I'm very sure that's probably how I have like an eating disorder. If you guys not know, my ADHD is like connected to my binge eating disorder. I don't really talk about that a lot, but I do have a binge eating disorder. That's where my ADHD is. It's really ridiculous because I'm like, yeah, I don't want my kids subjected to that. Also, my parents are just pretty damn toxic. The things they say, a lot of things that they have said to me have stuck in my mind a lot of times. The whole leaving me alone and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave my kids with my parents alone for an extended amount of time. I would bring them there for like a day, but like sleeping over for an extended amount of time, now I would trust my man's parents before them. And that sounds crazy, but it just is what it is. So when you have parents, and mind you, my parents aren't even innately horrible per se, but I'm very sensitive when it comes to children. I do not like when people do things to kids, or when kids are uncomfortable, or when kids are like susceptible to shit. Like you guys have seen my main channel, like I just So I can imagine if you have a parent that is genuinely abusive, like physically abusive or something like that, like yeah, you don't want your kid around that, you know? So it's just, I don't blame people that cut off their parents, because if you're cutting off your parent, that means like they did some real fuck shit to you. And I know a lot of people could never understand that because you probably don't have parents that are that bad, but some people really do have parents that are that bad. The next one is announcing with closure. Now, to be honest with you, I feel like a lot of people do this, but a lot of people kind of do this wrong and it always backfires. This is basically when you say, again, like I said before, hi, I don't like the way you treat me, do not want to be around you, I don't want this relationship, therefore I want my space. This is usually always via text message, usually very aggressive, and usually done in the heat of the moment, right? What the message usually should be is, I don't like the way you treat me, I understand you probably do not mean to treat me that way, but this is the way it comes across. And then you should give examples, like example, exhibit A, exhibit B, exhibit C, this is how it made me feel. I spoke to a couple other people, they told me that, you know, I was valid in how I felt, therefore I want my distance. That's how it should be, but a lot of people don't do that. You should also wait maybe like a couple of weeks to sit on how you're feeling and then have this conversation face to face, not via text message, not when you're mad as shit, not with people talking in your ear saying bullshit. And you should always talk to non-biased parties, okay? You shouldn't be going to a friend that you know that don't like that person, talking about that person, saying what they did to you, because of course they're gonna confirm, okay? Because a lot of us have confirmation bias and we want people to confirm our bias, okay? So it's like the whole announcement with closure thing, it usually does work, but it's like people just don't do it the right way. Like you would think it works the right way because okay, you're telling the person and you're like, yeah, I just don't want to be a friend, this is why I want to be a friend. But no, you have to tell the person. And then usually the way these people do it, they're not even giving them the opportunity to you know, say. And what did I say? They're not even giving the opportunity to explain. Always give the person the opportunity to explain, just so you can understand their perspective. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. They just be like, well, I don't like this and I don't like that, and you did this and you did that, and I don't fuck with that shit, and you would. It's like, oh, you cannot do that, you know? And of course, doing things via text message is usually pretty abrasive. But at the same time, it depends. Like if you don't have no respect for the person for real, like, or you don't really like it again, circumstantial, right? Very, very circumstantial. And my final one, which it really depends, I feel like you should only do this family and long-term friends, is a conversation with a non-biased mediator. Now, I had to do this with my mom and my cousin. That didn't work out. I'll probably do a story time on that. I had to, if it's not already up, I'm not sure when that one's gonna be up because I did shoot it already. I'm always mediating some type of conversation because I'm the type of person where I don't like when people talk shit about each other to me, and I'm close to both of them, and it's a constant thing. It's one thing to have a concern, right? It's one thing where you're like, oh, I'm concerned about blah blah blah's well-being, I don't like how they're acting, I don't like this, and I'll listen to you, I'll give you feedback, whatever. But if it's like every day you're like, I don't like this person, I don't like this, they dirty, they did it, I'm snitching on both of y'all because I don't got time for this goofy shit. This is not high school, we're grown as fuck. Say what you gotta say, go tell that person you don't like them, go. I don't got time, I don't care. A lot of people might think that's problematic, but I don't give a fuck. I say it to my face very literally. And if you ever see me saying shit about somebody, guarantee you they know I said that shit because I probably said it to their face. So no, that it's so funny. Everybody want to be like, say it to my face till you say it to their face. So it's like, no, then stop saying that shit. All right. So the whole mediator thing, usually does work. The problem is, again, a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people will sit there, they go get a mediator, and the mediator is their sister, their mother, their best friend. It's like, no, you cannot get a mediator that is your sister, your brother, your best friend, because most of the time they already know the situation, and now it becomes a 2-on-1. You have to get somebody that either doesn't know anything about the situation, doesn't know both of you, or has no bull in the fight. That's just really what it is, because it's just gonna be a big issue. And that's why I don't understand why people be asking me to be a mediator or something. Usually I'm very non-biased, but at the same time, usually I know that both of y'all talk shit about each other, so y'all both in the wrong in my eyes. So I'm a bad mediator, because I'm gonna just tell both of y'all ain't shit. And I'm gonna just let y'all fight. That's just me. I'm gonna let y'all fight so y'all can shut the hell up and stop telling me about it. That's just me. You know, so I would say, like, the mediator thing should only be done with, like, very, like, grave severity. When it's dealing with parents, when it's dealing with elders, when it's dealing with, like, a really, really serious, close relationship with a sibling, with other types of family members or best friends, like long-term friendships, like over 5 years type shit. Because I feel like only a mediator that is non-biased can basically get everyone's point across, that's non-abrasive and doesn't really lean towards one side. Even with the mediator thing, some people may take it wrong. Some people may not like that. Some people may be like, okay, why can't you just say this to me yourself? Da da da. You know, you gotta know who you're dealing with. This is usually the kind of like a last-ditch effort to save a relationship, and you kind of want to do this when you're trying to save a relationship, when you're trying to talk to somebody, and it's just not going through. Like, you guys keep arguing, you guys keep fighting, no one's listening to each other. It's just not going well. That's like when you want to get a mediator involved. You don't want to just get into a situation with someone, everything's going left, and then all of a sudden you just invite them to fucking Applebee's and there's a mediator there. No. You also do want to do this in a public space, like very public, where there's a lot of people, so people do not start flipping tables and throwing drinks like we in fucking Love and Hip Hop, because people are crazy. I feel like all relationships, when you're cutting them off, deserve closure. If you actually truly care about that person, if you really loved that person, if you really had a relationship with that person, if that person knew your intimate business for real, you should always give that person closure. I think that's the most important out of all of this. You do not want to just leave someone high and dry, because not only are they probably going to spread your business around, but I think the right thing to do, the proper thing to do. Now, I know there's going to be people that are like, okay, so what if this person keeps coming back, they don't get the message? What if they just, you know, keep bothering me and, you know, I'm not strong enough to ignore them? I'm gonna say this with love, okay? With love. Grow a backbone, block a number, change your iCloud, change your Google account. I don't care, but grow a backbone. Okay, if you truly care about your peace, if you really want people to respect you, if you really don't care about this friendship, if you really know this person is hurting you and disrespecting you all the time, you're gonna have to do what you gotta do. It's not that hard to block a number. It's not that hard to block an Instagram or Facebook, a Twitter, a Pinterest account. I don't understand why people just be like, oh, I don't block people, I don't block people. Like, even my man be on that dumb shit. I don't block people. Like, what the fuck you mean you don't block people? Just block the fucking person. If they bother you, block them. Like, there's a block button for a reason, y'all. Like, there's really a block button for a reason. Now, if you're dealing with like a crazy ex or like a really crazy family member that's threatening you, get a restraining order. Okay, file a lawsuit, a harassment lawsuit. And you guys are probably thinking, okay, that's drastic. No, it's not. It's not drastic to protect your peace. It's not drastic to show people that you're serious. It's not drastic at all, because they probably do the same shit to you. Okay, stop sitting here making excuses. Stop making excuses for your peace. Stop making excuses for your life. Stop making excuses for people that will probably do the same shit to you in a heartbeat. Stop it. It's exhausting. Understand, these people will talk about you. They're gonna get mad. They're gonna run their mouth. They're probably gonna tell your business. This is why you gotta be careful of the type of business you tell people. You gotta be careful of what business you want in the street and what business you don't want in the street. Because when you cut people out, they're gonna just... And you know what you gotta learn to do? Ignore. Out of sight, out of mind. Work on yourself. Fuck those people. I really need to make a video about how to not give a fuck about what people think, because this is what's really plaguing society. We need to stop putting so much emphasis on other people's opinions, because it's really fucking us over, okay? Stop caring so much about these people, because they really genuinely don't care about you. Hence why they are spreading your business around to the masses, okay? Make sure you just be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm working on myself. I got my own things to worry about, and work on that. There may come a time, depending on the type of person, they're gonna try to ask to meet up with you, for you to go to an event with them, take a walk with them, whatever the case may be. Refuse contact. I'll tell you, refuse contact, okay? They're gonna try to talk to you through other people. Refuse contact. You probably have to cut that other person off, because they know damn well you don't talk to that person. Refuse contact. Well, I see this person at work, school, they live in the same apartment complex as me, restrict access. If you know this person goes to work at 8 o'clock and they're probably gonna be leaving the house at 7:30, leave at a different time. Leave a little bit earlier. Is there a side door? Go through the other door. Even more drastic, move. Stop going to that church. Or don't do the same activities. Do a different activity at church. Switch jobs, switch departments, switch desks, ask to be moved to a different time. You guys may think this is all drastic, but again, your peace should be more important. And this is what they need to teach kids, okay? Y'all out here teaching kids about fucking kindness and cookies and shit. Y'all need to teach kids how to protect their own peace. Because a lot of people may think this is drastic, but it's not. One person doing all this toxic shit to you can really ruin your life. And people, when they don't get their way, can get really scary. I've heard and seen some really crazy stories about people getting cut off, okay, whether it be an ex or a friend or a family member, and they start doing really scary things. So if it really gets to the point where people are like legitimately harassing you, you gotta do what you gotta do, okay? So like I remember I talked about a story time where like one of my ex-friends literally had her ex file a harassment lawsuit on her because he claimed that she was banging windows at his house in the middle of the night. Mind you, they went to the same church. And I was like, why is it that after y'all broke up, y'all kept going to that church? And the thing is, a lot of people are like, well, it's not easy to leave a church. The thing is, everybody in that church was sitting there talking shit about her and was on this man's side. So I don't know why the fuck she stayed in that church. It doesn't make sense. Change fucking churches, you idiot. It don't make sense. You know, like it's just shit like that. Change the church, change the job, change the building, leave, move away if you have to, move to another state, move to another whatever. Protect your peace. And I know there's people that can be like, okay, well, why should I have to do that? They're the toxic one. They're the one that's, you know, being ain't shit. Listen, why are you saying this? You have to do it because it's your life. It's your happiness. It's your peace. You're the one with the problem. You think they're toxic. You cut them off. They won't listen. So you have to put all these steps in place. You have to put all these boundaries in place. That's why. With that being said, I am so sorry for any of you who are going through any craziness with people who do not listen when they're being cut off, because I know some people can get really, really crazy and they do not like being cut off whatsoever. So I really deeply feel for all of you guys, because that could get scary. I've had my own craziness with people who do not like getting cut off. But I mean, people don't really play that shit with me anymore. But it is what it is. Please do what you have to do to protect your peace, to protect your energy, to protect your safety, most importantly. Of course, feel free to comment your stories down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, peep the description box for more information. Follow my other 2 channels that will be up above. Watch this video right here next. Like, share, subscribe, do all that, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye.